Chez Humana, nous sommes un catalyseur d'écosystèmes technologiques. Avec nos partenaires, nous réunissons les gens qui innovent afin de créer plus de valeur pour l'industrie des technologies et pour tout le Québec.
Chaque jour, nous posons des gestes qui contribuent à faire émerger des solutions. Nous faisons en sorte que ce qui est aujourd'hui une opportunité devienne demain une réalité.
Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to talk to you about the importance of humanness in innovation. Now, I'm sure all of you already know what innovation means. By the time I'm done telling you my story, it will also become clear to you what exactly I mean by humanness and why that's so important in innovation. Just a few friendly reminders before I begin. First of all, please turn off your phones and give me your full attention for the next 20 minutes or so. I'm not going to take up that much of your time at all. Second, if you do have any questions, you can email me and I will be providing my email at the end. So let's get started with a bit about myself. So my name's Hammad. I love to read. I love coffee. I love tech. And I started this company while I was still in university. So this was 2012. I was a fourth year undergraduate student at York University and I was studying computer science. And since I was in my last year, I was going out to a lot of networking events, going to a lot of recruiting events. I'm sure you guys have been to similar kind of events, with the idea of meeting recruiters and finding out about potential job opportunities. So that was very much my mindset at the time, since I was close to graduating. And being a computer science student, at these events, I always had with me some copies of my portfolio. Now, believe it or not, back in 2012, what my portfolio looked like was a thick leather-bound binder. So something like this. It was a pretty bulky binder. And, I used to carry around a few of these at networking events, at recruiting events. Frankly, I thought this was ridiculous. Being in a high-tech discipline like computer science, I thought that there has to be a better way to share my portfolio than carrying around a few of these heavy, bulky binders. So it was actually this personal experience that led me to start my company, Flareon. The purpose of the company? Making information sharing easier. The product? A USB business card. It's a business card that plugs into the USB port, any laptop or desktop. So all of a sudden, instead of having to carry this bulky binder, all I had to do was carry around a few business cards, give them out to recruiters, and when they wanted, they could just plug them into their computer and view my portfolio. It was a much better way of sharing my portfolio, of sharing information. Now, this was back in 2012. Long story short, over the next couple of years, we realized that the corporate world is showing a real interest in this product. What they would do is, get these cards, print their logo and their branding on there, their contact information on there, preload some of their marketing material, promo videos, PDFs, all of this stuff on the USB drive, and then give them out at conferences, give them out at trade shows, give them out to their clients. It was a great marketing and promotional tool for them. So what we did is we repositioned the company to focus more on the corporate world instead of students. And that led to pretty fast growth. In 2017, we were named Canada's 24th fastest growing startup. In 2018, we were ranked Canada's 91st fastest growing company. And in 2019, we were named Canada's 66th fastest growing company. So things were great, or at least they looked great from the outside. But the truth is, I was freaking out. I was freaking out because I had built a company that had been growing with USB technology at its core, a company that sells USB products. And we all knew that USB drives are getting obsolete. I mean, when is the last time any of you used a USB drive? I sure wasn't using USB drives in 2018 on a personal level. So I was really scared about the future. As great as things were at the moment, as fast as we had grown, I couldn't help but wonder what's next? What does the future hold? What do we do next? Is there a future for us if we are a USB company? It was a really scary time. Now, I mentioned to you guys earlier that I love to read. So I came across this book, Blue Ocean Strategy. It's a really popular book. I'm sure some of you might have heard of it. I strongly encourage that you do read it. It's a great book. And what the premise of the book is, how do you create new markets? How do you do something that hasn't been done before, where there isn't much competition? Or in other words, how do you innovate? And they break it down into a simple framework. And there are 3 pillars of that framework. But I'm not going to cover all of this in detail. If you are interested in understanding how Blue Ocean Strategy fully works, I encourage you to read the book. What I want to really focus on today is one of these 3 pillars that are required for innovation. One of these 3 pillars is humanness in the process. And the reason that intrigued me so much is I had studied strategy extensively, but it had always been very logical and factual. This was the first time I was understanding the concept of humanness as it ties to strategy. So that really intrigued me. And what is humanness? Why is it important? Well, the way they describe it is humanness in the process is needed to inspire and build people's confidence so that they own and drive the process for effective execution. So in simple words, if you have humanness in the process, you will inspire your people, which is a prerequisite to innovating, and you will build your people's confidence, which is really important if you want to innovate. So how does that look like practically in the real world? How does it translate? Well, when it comes to humanness, there are really 3 components to it. The first one, atomization. To help you understand what atomization means, I'll demonstrate this quote by Albert Einstein. If you deconstruct any challenge into its basic components, or atoms, and focus on solving them one at a time, even the largest challenge shifts from being overwhelming to being intellectually and psychologically solvable. So, atomization. What did that mean for us? How did it play out? Here's what happened. Had I gone up to my team and said, hey, we're selling USB drives, but USB drives are getting obsolete, so we have to figure out what to do next, that would have been too big of a problem to solve. It would be too overwhelming. People wouldn't know what to do next. There would not be many great answers to that question because it's simply too big of an ask. On the other hand, if we break that down into multiple problems, multiple steps, for instance, hey, let's talk to our customers and ask them what problem of theirs our products are solving. Very concrete task. Hey, let's talk to our customers and ask them what other products other than ours they considered to solve the same problem. Hey, let's look at the trends these days and hypothesize what potential products could solve the same problem that we're currently solving. When you break it down into concrete tasks, what happens is that with every task, You push the boundary of your own thinking, you push the boundary of your people's thinking without letting any one task be too overwhelming, without letting any one task seem too overwhelming to solve, seem too impossible to solve. One task at a time. With every task, one builds upon the previous, and you continuously push the boundary of your and your people's thinking. That's atomization. The second component is first-hand discovery. Here's what that means. Now, if I went up to my team and said, hey, we sell USB drives, maybe we should sell cloud services now, that would seem very random. They won't understand where it comes from. They might agree to it, but it would lack true buy-in because they don't understand the premise of it. And if it lacks true buy-in, even though they agree on the surface level, when it comes to execution, it will compromise the execution. Now, on the other hand, if I ask my team to, hey, talk to customers and ask them what other products they've considered, and the customer says cloud services, and they heard this a few times, then they can connect the dots for themselves. Then they can understand why it might make sense for us to delve in that direction as well. As they say, seeing is believing. So that's the reason first-hand discovery is very important. You can't brainstorm and impose in isolation. You have to involve your people, and you have to make sure that first-hand discovery is a part of the process. The last component, fair process. What fair process comes down to is engagement, explanation, and clear expectations. Engagement very much means what I just went over in first-hand discovery. You have to engage the team. You have to engage the people to be a part of this process of innovation. What explanation means is for every decision taken, you should have clear explanations as to why that decision was taken. For example, if someone on the team is suggesting that we sell cloud services, but we end up going in a different direction, why was this direction chosen as opposed to the one that the team member proposed? What is the reason for it? There needs to be a clear explanation for the decisions taken. And lastly, clear expectations. What that means is it's clearly defined upfront what everyone's roles are, what the expectations of them are, what they are responsible for. Who's responsible for brainstorming, who's responsible for the debate, and who is responsible for the final decision. As long as that is established upfront, everyone will feel like that the process that they are participating in is fair. And the reason it's so important to establish fair process is, as they describe it in the Blue Ocean book, what makes fair process so powerful is that it communicates through its actions how much people are valued as individuals and recognized for their intellectual and emotional worth. When we feel valued, we feel emotionally secure and intrinsically motivated to give our all. We trust, we commit, and we move from being self-protecting to being open to sharing, exploring the new, and giving our best ideas, even when we are uncertain as to how they will be received. That's why fair process is so important. So what did this mean for us? What did it lead to? What happened? As I mentioned, in 2012, I started this company around a single USB business card product. We grew the company around USB technology. We grew pretty fast. Somewhere around 2017, 2018, started freaking out about what's next. We've been selling USB-based products. What's next? We embarked on this process of innovation, keeping in mind the importance of humanness in that process. We remembered and realigned on our purpose, which was making information sharing easier. Not to sell USB drives, but to make information sharing easier. USB happened to be the best technology to fulfill that purpose when we started in 2012. It's no longer the best technology to fulfill that purpose, but the purpose still exists and the problem still needs to be solved. So here's where we ended up. Now sharing your information is as easy as paying for a cup of coffee. Just a simple tap. We made our product mobile friendly. We moved storage away from local USB memory to the cloud on our own platform. And since everything's now on the cloud, we can now tell our corporate customers how their information is being viewed, what's working, what files are popular, what's not working. Why did we do this? Well, we talked to our customers, and the biggest feedback was, number one, the USB cards are a great marketing tool, but increasingly, mobile devices are the primary mode of consumption, and the USB drives don't cater to that. So we knew the next generation has to be mobile friendly. And number two, our customers knew that when they give these cards out, people like them, but beyond that, they didn't know much. And in today's day and age, marketing analytics is very important. Numbers have become very important. So they need to know what happens after they give these cards away. Are they being used? What files are being viewed? They didn't know any of that information, and now they do. So that's how we ended up here. But what I realized is none of this would have been possible without understanding humanness. Because at the end of the day, innovation doesn't happen in a void. It's done by people, it's done for people. So if you want to innovate, you absolutely have to understand people. Thank you very much. As promised, here's my email. Feel free to email me any questions that you have. And you can see our websites as well.
Bonjour tout le monde, je me présente, je m'appelle Harry Hébert, je suis conseiller au service public d'emploi pour Service Québec. Aujourd'hui, je vous propose une présentation sur l'offre de Service Québec qui est destinée aux chercheurs d'emploi. Service Québec est la porte d'entrée des services gouvernementaux pour les citoyens et pour les entreprises sur tout le territoire québécois. Cela signifie que Service Québec est présent dans chaque région, assure la disponibilité des services pour les citoyens et pour les entreprises, offre des renseignements sur tous les programmes et les services du gouvernement et finalement offre aux citoyens et aux entreprises un accès unique pour être dirigés au bon endroit, vers le ministère ou l'organisme qui peut répondre à leurs besoins, interconnexion téléphonique, lien vers les sites des ministères et organismes. Service Québec, c'est un regroupement de services gouvernementaux accessibles de trois façons. Premièrement, des services rendus au comptoir dans les bureaux de Service Québec dans toutes les régions de la province. Deuxièmement, des services téléphoniques, tant pour les citoyens que pour les entreprises. Et finalement, des services web disponibles à toute heure via le site québec.ca. Service Québec a plusieurs lignes d'affaires, dont les services publics d'emploi, qui sont un panier de services adaptés aux besoins et aux priorités des régions, visant la préparation à l'emploi, la formation, l'insertion professionnelle, le maintien et la stabilisation en emploi. Il offre des services universels pour l'ensemble de la population et les entreprises, dont les services d'accueil, les services de placement et les services d'information sur le marché du travail. Il offre aussi les services spécialisés pour les personnes qui, sans l'intervention d'un conseiller de Service Québec, risquent de voir la durée de leur chômage se prolonger, et pour les entreprises qui souhaitent améliorer la gestion de leurs ressources humaines. Service Québec vous offre aussi un questionnaire en ligne pour vous outiller dans vos démarches de recherche d'emploi. Pour accéder au questionnaire, vous devez aller sur le site québec.ca. Vous cliquez sur la section Emploi, sur Conseil en recherche d'emploi, sur Aide à l'emploi Et finalement, au bas de l'écran, vous avez le lien vers l'outil interactif questionnaire pour orienter votre démarche de recherche d'emploi. En cliquant sur le questionnaire et en le complétant, vous allez obtenir un résultat qui va vous donner des explications pour vous outiller dans vos démarches de recherche d'emploi. Le questionnaire prend quelques minutes à compléter et comporte 12 questions. Les 3 résultats possibles que vous pouvez obtenir sont autonome, besoin d'assistance et besoin d'accompagnement. Le premier résultat que vous pourriez obtenir après avoir rempli le questionnaire en ligne est autonome. Autonome qui signifie que vous êtes en mesure de réaliser votre recherche d'emploi par vous-même. Donc, on vous suggère de l'information adaptée à vos besoins puisque vous connaissez bien l'emploi recherché et que vous possédez la formation requise. Alors, on vous propose quelques liens Internet disponibles sur québec.ca. Préparer un CV, trouver des offres d'emploi et postuler à un emploi, vous préparer à passer des entrevues et informations sur le marché du travail en ligne. Le deuxième résultat que vous pourriez obtenir est besoin d'assistance, qui veut dire que vous pouvez occuper un emploi, mais que vous avez besoin d'aide. Donc, on parle d'une assistance via une de nos ressources en employabilité. On vous suggère donc de l'information qui est adaptée à vos besoins et vous allez pouvoir consulter la liste des organismes spécialisés en employabilité qui peuvent vous aider. Le troisième résultat que vous pourriez obtenir est besoin d'accompagnement. Alors, vous pouvez occuper un emploi, mais vous avez besoin d'une aide personnalisée. Donc, on vous suggère de remplir une demande de service en ligne pour avoir une entrevue d'évaluation avec un agent d'aide à l'emploi. Je vous présente maintenant une partie de nos mesures et services d'emploi qui pourraient répondre à vos besoins. On a des services pour vous aider à trouver un emploi, pour intégrer un emploi, pour démarrer une entreprise et finalement, pour développer vos compétences. Naturellement, la mesure ou le service qu'on vous propose est adapté à votre situation et surtout à votre besoin. Je commence par vous présenter les services d'aide à l'emploi. Les services d'aide à l'emploi qui viennent en aide aux personnes qui sont en démarche de recherche d'emploi. Ils ont besoin d'aide pour se trouver un emploi. Qu'est-ce qui peut être offert dans les services d'aide à l'emploi? On parle entre autres des séances d'information sur le marché du travail, des services d'orientation et de bilan de compétences, des activités d'aide à la recherche d'emploi ou de placement, et aussi une aide à la préparation pour vos entrevues d'embauche. Pour vous aider à intégrer un emploi, vous avez la mesure de la subvention salariale. La subvention salariale qui est destinée aux personnes qui ont de la difficulté à intégrer le marché du travail et pour lesquelles une aide financière est requise comme incitatif d'embauche auprès des employeurs. Donc, c'est une mesure qui vise l'intégration en emploi durable ou l'acquisition d'une expérience professionnelle transférable. On a plusieurs types de subventions qui peuvent être octroyées selon la personne embauchée, par exemple la personne immigrante, la personne expérimentée, personne handicapée, etc. Le programme d'aide à l'intégration des immigrants et des minorités visibles en emploi, le PRIM, permet à une personne immigrante ou issue d'une minorité visible admissible de vivre au Québec une première expérience de travail significative dans son domaine de compétences. Le PRIM permet de soutenir financièrement l'employeur l'ayant embauché afin qu'il puisse assurer l'intégration professionnelle et favoriser le maintien en emploi de la personne immigrante. Si vous désirez vous prévaloir du PRIM, vous devez contacter votre bureau de Service Québec. Si le PRIM s'avère une solution adéquate, une lettre d'admissibilité vous sera remise pour faciliter votre recherche d'emploi. Ainsi, l'employeur qui hésite à vous embaucher en raison d'un manque d'expérience de travail au Québec sera rassuré. Un autre exemple de mesure de service qui pourrait vous être proposé est le soutien au travail autonome, qui s'adresse aux personnes qui désirent devenir travailleurs autonomes et qui ont un projet prometteur. Ce qui pourrait vous être proposé, c'est des conseils techniques, un accompagnement pour élaborer votre plan d'affaires, un soutien financier et une aide pour le démarrage de votre entreprise. Une des mesures qui permet le développement de vos compétences est la mesure de formation de la main-d'œuvre, qui s'adresse aux personnes qui sont confrontées à des barrières à l'emploi en raison d'un manque de formation. Ce qui pourrait vous être proposé, entre autres, de la francisation, la formation générale préalable à une formation professionnelle ou technique, la formation professionnelle ou technique dans certains domaines, et finalement, la reconnaissance des acquis et des compétences dans certains domaines également. Le programme de préparation à l'emploi vous permet de faire la liste de vos objectifs personnels et des activités qui vous aideront à les atteindre. Par exemple, de l'orientation professionnelle, des séances d'information sur le marché du travail, de l'aide à la recherche d'emploi, des stages en entreprise ou de la formation pour vous aider à occuper un emploi. Le programme d'apprentissage en milieu de travail, PAMT, permet de développer les compétences de travailleurs selon une formule gagnante pour tous, le compagnonnage. D'un côté, le compagnon participe à former la relève de demain. De l'autre, l'apprenti augmente ses compétences tout en travaillant et obtiendra un certificat de qualification professionnelle lié à son métier. Le programme Passe Action est un programme d'aide et d'accompagnement social destiné à des personnes éloignées du marché du travail et qui sont prestataires d'une aide financière de dernier recours. Le programme a pour objet de les aider à atteindre leur plein potentiel tout en les préparant à participer à une mesure d'aide à l'emploi. Pour en savoir plus, nous vous invitons à vous rendre sur le site québec.ca/emploi. Nous avons à cœur de vous offrir des services de qualité. Au nom de tout le personnel de Service Québec, on vous souhaite la meilleure des chances dans vos démarches.